Most people had no idea this legal battle was even happening, but a federal judge just made a decision that could affect how millions of Americans vote. And depending on what happens next, this story could become one of the biggest election fights of the year. Because we're not just talking about politics here. We're talking about mail-in ballots, presidential power, federal agencies, and a legal question that could end up reshaping election rules before the next major vote. And the twist? Even though this sounds huge, the judge didn't exactly give Trump a total win, but he didn't stop him either. Hey everyone, welcome back to Unix Media. I'm Host, and today we're breaking down a major federal court ruling involving President Donald Trump's executive order on voting by mail, why critics are sounding alarms, and what could happen next. So here's what happened. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. declined to temporarily block Trump's latest executive order related to mail-in voting. That means, at least for now, the order stays in place while legal challenges continue. Now, this is where things get interesting. The executive order, signed back on March 31st, proposes something pretty unusual. It calls for the Department of Homeland Security to work with the Social Security Administration to create lists of adult U.S. citizens in every state. Those lists would then be shared with state election officials. But that's not all. The order also asks the U.S. Postal Service to create lists of eligible voters and only deliver mail-in ballots to people who appear on those lists. And immediately, people on both sides started paying attention. Supporters argue this is about election integrity. Trump says the goal is preventing illegal voting by non-citizens in federal elections. Critics, though, say documented cases of non-citizen voting are extremely rare and that the proposal could create barriers for eligible voters who rely on voting by mail. And honestly, this is where the legal drama really starts. The judge in this case, Carl Nichols, a federal judge appointed by Trump, didn't say the executive order is definitely legal. That part matters. Instead, he ruled that challengers haven't yet shown enough immediate harm to justify blocking the order right now. In simple terms, the judge basically said, come back if the government actually takes actions that directly hurt voters. That's because, according to court filings, federal agencies are still figuring out exactly how this order would even work in practice. In fact, back in May, the Trump administration reportedly told the court that agencies were still discussing implementation. So even now, there are still big unanswered questions. Would voters have to verify citizenship differently? How would those eligibility lists actually work? What happens if someone gets left off by mistake? And what role can the Postal Service legally play in elections? Trust me, those questions are exactly why this fight is far from over. Right now, Democrats, voting rights organizations, nearly 24 states, and Washington, D.C. have already filed multiple lawsuits challenging the order. Their argument is pretty straightforward. Under Article 1 of the Constitution, election rules are mostly handled by states and Congress, not the president alone. Critics also argue that directing the Postal Service to make election-related delivery rules may go beyond what the agency is legally allowed to do. And here's the unexpected twist. Another federal judge in Boston is preparing to rule on a similar challenge in the coming weeks. That means this legal battle could shift again very soon. So while Trump just avoided a temporary setback in court, this story is nowhere near finished. And there's another layer people online are debating right now. Mail-in voting has become one of the most politically charged election topics in America. Millions of Americans across party lines use it, especially seniors, military voters, and people who can't vote in person. But surveys from recent elections have shown Democrats tend to use mail voting at higher rates than Republicans. Ironically, Trump himself has voted by mail in Florida. So now the question becomes, is this really about election security? Or could it change who has easier access to voting? That debate is exactly why reactions online are exploding. Some Americans say stricter voter verification makes sense and could increase confidence in elections. Others fear eligible voters could get caught in bureaucratic mistakes and lose access to ballots they relied on for years. And no kidding. If courts eventually allow major parts of this order to move forward, the impact could be massive before future federal elections. But if judges strike it down, this entire fight could turn into a major constitutional showdown over presidential authority. Either way, what happens next may affect millions of voters. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think this executive order is about protecting elections, or do you think it goes too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this debate is clearly not slowing down anytime soon. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the stories everyone will be talking about next.